self-made individuals, so that's why they brought us in. If you're interested in becoming one of the organizers here, see one of us. We have Charlie over here against the wall. Val is behind the camera over here. Jason is against the wall over here next to Casey. So those are our organizers here that are here today. Sean is out, and Dave. Oh, I've got Dave back here. Yeah, brand new. And Dave. No. Just gotta remember to put you into the list now. Dave, stand up so everybody can see you. Yeah, all right. All right. So if you're interested in becoming an organizer, see us. You win valuable prizes and make tons of money, and it's really a good deal. Plus, you meet a lot of good people. So, hey, are there any new folks here today? First timers? All right, right here in the front. Well, you're going to speak, so we'll have you tell about yourself in a minute here. JC, right?
Close, TC.
TC.
Yep.
Got it. TC, stand up, tell us what you do real quick.
Oh, man. Yes, sir. So my name's TC. I work with One Family Ministries. What we do is we provide training for local churches to help them start up foster care ministries and wraparound care. So if there's anybody in the neighborhood or that has a need such as like a single parent or anybody say they need a bed or a backpack or this or that, so they'll reach out through Care Portal is one of the different functions that we have. And we actually have a screening August 31st at 6 p.m. for our new documentary that we're about to release about how Pastor Stephen and Ho, the founders of One Family Ministries, how they got started in foster care. They have 10 adopted kids, which is crazy. Crazy story. So if you got the time, and it just kind of goes over how you can help. It's not necessarily like, hey, you should be a foster parent, right? Because not everybody's called to be a foster parent, but everybody's called to do something. So that's what we're a part of and what we believe,
Very cool. Very good. Say hello to them. Anybody else? First timers right here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we would have found out anyway. Stand and tell us who you are, what you do.
So my name is Kimberly Brandt, and I do medical grade skincare. I work at the Med Spa Ormond Beach. I've been doing skincare for about 22 years. Worked in Indiana, California, ran some medical spas for about 7 different doctors. So I do anything from like just a deep cleanse all the way up to resurfacing. I do, if you have skin tags or different spots that are weird, we can help get rid of some of the medical side of the stuff before I send you to a derm. But the reason I'm here is I met somebody at the chamber that was, telling me, of course, this group is really great, entrepreneurs, just trying to get in where I can think a little bit, get some fresh ideas, hear some successes and maybe some of the, pitfalls that you've overcome because, I am an independent contractor in this company and I've been there for 10 years and just the whole marketing aspect and retaining clients and stuff is different nowadays than it used to be. And there is medical spas on every corner. Doesn't mean they have a lot of experience and you should trust them, but there's a lot of people that are talented that do it. I'm just like kind of wanting to kick people's brains and see what you guys have been through and ideas. It's always good to stay connected to other people and that are entrepreneurs and I don't know, encouragement.
That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. Yeah. So everybody here is either has a business idea, had a business idea, and grew the business, or is interested in doing something here. So Kimberly, that's what we do. And you and I need to talk because I do med spa stuff on SEO website stuff. Hey, the reason why we are here is Volusia County Economic Development. They provide funds to help us pay for this location. So anybody, if you see anybody from the county, Riccardi or Lou, they are the ones who help us pay the rent when we come here every Wednesday. And this is the facility is Cinematique. They have schedules here on every table. Take advantage of it, but they provide the coffee for us every week. And normally we have Jed, but he is traveling with family out on the West Coast for the last couple of weeks. But they take good care of us. So when you see them out front, tell them thank you very much. Who else am I missing? Oh, Kaufman Foundation. That's the big reason why we're here. There she is. The big reason we are here is the Kaufman Foundation. So if you're brand new, Kaufman Foundation is based in Kansas City. And years ago they started this program called 1 Million Cups. And the idea is that every Wednesday morning, a group of entrepreneurs, people who have an interest in starting a business, running a business, improving their business, getting ideas and sharing ideas, can get together. And we do it over coffee. So every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, a couple hundred organizers and chapters and members participants get together wherever they're at for their 1MC meeting. So that's how we are here. So 1MC, Kaufman Foundation, Volusia County Economic Development, and of course, Cinematique here. So without further ado, what we're going to do is going to have our presenter today, 5 to 10 minutes, do a presentation about her business, what challenges she's facing, and what kind of things she needs from us. And then we're going to have a Q&A session, a comment session. So if you have ideas, comments, want to share something, have experience in the area of what she's looking for help with, raise your hand and we'll bring the microphone around to each one of you, and we can have a great discussion on her entrepreneurial journey. So, Sonia, you all ready?
Yes.
All right, very good. We're going to talk about mobile phlebotomy here this morning. Sonia, come up and tell us what's going on. Tell us your story.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning. So my name is Sonia, and I started, well, how many of you knew at age 18 what you wanted to do in life? Raise your hands. I didn't. I was 23 when I found out that I was going into a medical field. My mother, at that time, saw an ad in the newspaper, and she said, "What are you doing with your life? You're pregnant, you are home, don't have money to pay for your car mortgage, don't have money to pay for your car insurance. What do you want to do in your life?" And she's the one where I started the medical field from. She made me drive to a local school where she saw the ad, which literally was walking distance. So I couldn't make any excuses to not go there or not to attend the school. So she took me there, we met with the dean, and we signed up for me to be a medical assistant in allied health. And at that time, I didn't know what allied health was. I didn't know what healthcare was. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. So she's the one who started it all, and she's the one I'm still here. I started at 23, pregnant, going to school as a phlebotomist or a medical assistant. And, sorry. So I started at 23, I'm sorry, this won't. Okay, there you go. I did not have it all figured out. Not knowing what to do with my life, I started with the medical school, and I was pregnant with my daughter 4 years later, still doing the same thing, not figured it out. But I made sure I went to school, I graduated before my daughter was born, and I started working at a doctor's office. I worked at many doctor's offices, but there was one that really changed a lot of things for me. And his name was Dr. Grover. And I started working for him, worked for him for a few years, and then he retired. I started working for his daughter. But at that time, I didn't realize what I was learning or what he was teaching me or how he was teaching me, because he was teaching me in a way I would have never known. So imagine working at a doctor's office, writing notes, and a patient is taking 10 medications, and he was telling me to take right next to each medication what the medication is for. And I'm like, he sees 20 patients a day. How am I gonna do with 20 patients? But lo and behold, very soon I knew what each medication, each condition, each medical condition, how to, not to treat them, but knew what I was doing in his field, in his office. So that started to learn more, wanting to learn more. He kept teaching me EKGs, phlebotomy, and so many things more. And working for him and then for his daughter, along the way, I realized that phlebotomy is what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get started. And because I didn't know how to get started, I did some research. But during the research, my husband's job brought me to Florida. And I'm originally from Virginia. So I've lived in Virginia all my life, and I didn't know where to go from here. So I decided to be a mom for a little bit. Be a mom to both of my kids. Took a year off and decided that I was going to get up every day, not have a time restriction, not have to worry about anything other than taking my kids to school, taking them to practices, and then from there onwards, after the year off, I decided I was going to look into getting into a medical field again. So I did. I started working for another doctor's office, and that doctor put something in my head and said, why don't you do this on your own? And I didn't know that was a thing. I researched, I called local county offices, health departments, other doctor's offices. I've called many places, but I didn't have any answer. I didn't have a mentor. So I was doing it all on my own. So it took me 6 months to get my business started. I wanted to do it right the first time, so I did. I wanted to make sure whatever I was doing, it was nothing against like my company or my well-being or, you know, breaking any rules. So I made sure everything was done right, and it was 6 months that took me that time. It took me 6 months to get started. But then life happened again. COVID happened. So it kind of put a lot of things on halt. But that didn't stop me. I kept going. And I met with a few people that were doing injections on the, you know, after work and things like that. So I started doing, researching on it again, and I started my Wellbeing mobile phlebotomy services. I lived in DeLand at that time, so it was based out of DeLand. It was from home. And I worked, I went to doctor's offices, I sent emails. Literally every evening, I sat down in front of my computer, went on Google, and I looked up everyone's emails, and I emailed, and I emailed, and I emailed. It never stopped. Till today's date, I do not stop. This is how I started. And this is how I got my first client in DeLand, working at a very small facility. And from there on, it opened so many doors for me. I went to Palm Coast, I worked with some assisted living facilities there. And then now we are going towards we're going towards Seminole and Orange County. And during that time, I realized one thing. If I didn't have someone to tell me where to go, or someone to lead the way, or you would say someone on the inside of a facility or a doctor's office, I wasn't going to get in. That was not an option. If I didn't know some of the staff members, or I didn't know one of the managers or wellness director, nobody really wanted to listen to what I had to offer. There is so much in mobile phlebotomy that it is unbelievable. How many of us go out to get blood work done and it takes them hours? Imagine the traffic. Imagine first scheduling, leaving the house, sitting in traffic, sitting in lines, and then you are getting your blood work done, and now you have to go to work and you're still hungry. That's where I started to solve the problem. I started going to individual patients. I started doing networking events. I started going to independent living facilities. But nothing happened. It just didn't happen for me. What worked for me was word of mouth. One patient referred me to another patient. You should go see my mom. Great. You should go see my brother. He needs blood work done, and he's unable to leave the house. He has medical conditions. He has chronic conditions. Or my mother is bedbound. She's in a facility. She hasn't had her labs done because the facility kept telling them, somebody will be here today or tomorrow or the day after. So trust me, the need is there. But I don't know where or how or what I'm saying is not really getting to the people at the facilities or independent living facilities. I would like someone, like any of you all here, to like tell me, what am I saying wrong? When I go into a facility, I tell them, hey, this is Sonia. I am an independent mobile phlebotomist. We take so-and-so insurances. And what I'm told is, we'll get back to you. Happens every day. But that didn't make me stop wanting to do phlebotomy. I just love it so much that I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to continue. I'm willing to go at it all over again. Any challenges that come my way, Wellbeing is not going anywhere. It's going to continue, big or small. But I want to present it to you all. Let me know, what am I saying wrong, or what am I doing wrong, or where my mistakes are, where my needs are, where do I need to go. I'm serving everyone like you all and myself. So please let me know.
All right, it works.
works. Well, thank you so much for a great presentation. One more time with Sonia with Wellbeing. So I'm going to start getting around. I'm going to start the questions. Oh yeah, stay right up on stage, because if not, she's going to track you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We don't have GPS locators on it yet.
Okay.
I kind of agree with you for the amount of assisted living facilities that we have in this area. When you say you come in and give your information, are you talking to the directors when you're doing that? Who are you talking, or is it just the gatekeeper?
Directors, wellness directors as well. Medical staff, sometimes the doctors that are visiting to those facilities, I do go talk to all of them. But you know, there are other bigger companies that already have existed or been there for longer, which they trust, which is okay. But we all have to give something a try. Let's say if you're driving on a highway and there's traffic, aren't you gonna reroute to where you can get to your same place quicker? It's the same thing with the labs. I just don't know what is it that's stopping them from wanting to try other labs.
Hey, Lori McMullen, your Daytona Regional Chamber. I have 3 questions. One, you mentioned you've been in Flagler and DeLand, but creeping over to Seminole and Orange, possibly, if I heard that right. Are you wanting to expand in Volusia on the east side at all?
Yes, I want to cover Volusia. That is correct,
Okay.
because I already have staff that helps me with that, yes.
And then 2 other things. One, I don't remember what it stands for. It's not Spin Bikes, but the Spin Network in our area. It's a conglomeration, if you don't know about it, of service providers, from financial planners to people in the medical field and palliative care to whatever, assisted living. But it's a group you might want to Google and find out about and join. It's low cost, and it's usually held in meetings in an assisted living facility.
Yes, I've been to one
Okay.
in Daytona, and I think there's another one that's coming up pretty soon,
Yeah.
maybe this Friday or the next Friday, so yes.
And then niching it down, because, I'm just happy to have health insurance. And I'm the one that gets hangry and stands in line and all that, but if I don't have to pay for my labs through insurance, you got to do what you got to do. But on that end, what about the concierge doctors and whatnot, where that might fit a little bit better? Possibly, I don't know. I know enough to be dangerous.
I have advertised to I have been to a few doctor's offices, or concierge medicine, not really getting anywhere.
I'm working on it.
Diego Handel, I'm the owner of Golden Magnolia Marine Resort, a bed and breakfast here downtown, and a developer. So the service you're offering is very interesting. I think you need to connect a little deeper with some of the people you're talking to. For example, with the VIP doctors, I think you probably need to work out an arrangement with them, not just give them your information. So they'll be glad to give your name out as part of their service. Also, for example, in this downtown area, there's a lot of merchants. If you get the word out, get flyers, and you get it to every single merchant on the street. And then there's the big condo buildings here on Beach Street, the Landmark Building in Westminster. There's a lot of big condo buildings here with people that are elderly, Social Security, disability, and all of that. And if you get the information to those buildings, talk to the homeowners association, and get your name out, you'll make a deeper connection. And the last thing I would say is some groups like the Visiting Nurses Association, groups like that reach out, Meals on Wheels, groups that actually go to homes and do what you do, but don't do what you do. They do other things, but they could pass out the information to their clients.
Hi, good morning, I'm Dave. My question is, who's your competition?
Nobody.
Well, you obviously have to have competition because they're saying no and they're going somewhere else. So,
Assisted living facilities mostly have their own providers that comes from corporate.
They come from where, I'm sorry?
corporate
Okay.
sites where the blood work is gonna go. But
Okay, so
that's
that's in their program, and you want them to go outside of that program?
not necessarily. The program comes from higher ups, but on a ground level, the facilities are allowed to change providers if something isn't working for them, or if the patient is supposed to be fasting at 8 a.m., well, it's fasting at 8 a.m., and somebody's coming to draw their blood at 10 a.m.
Understood,
That's the problem.
I understand all that, but from the corporate level, they're asking the question, I would imagine, why? Why am I changing? Is it more financially viable for me to change? Or is it a matter of convenience? I don't care about convenience, I care about money. So that's why I'm wondering where the competition is. Now, an idea for you is maybe an expansion of what you do. Now, I understand phlebotomy is blood draw,
Right.
but have you ever thought about expanding into IV administration? As well as, for hungover people, IV administration too, that kind of stuff. Then you can expand the business out and kind of make money on both sides because you have that ability and technical.
Good to know, yes. Definitely look into that.
I like
So I'm working my way over to Heath, because I know he's got great marketing insight, 100%. But as we're talking about this, look at groups that you like to align with already. That could be a good entryway. Churches are really, people always trust their pastor.
Hi, I'm Heath, Fractional Unit Marketing. So thanks for the presentation. That was a really good, this is what 1 million cups is for. So I'm going to make a suggestion. I would go back and I would do a much deeper marketing analysis to find out what your true marketplace is. What I didn't get from your presentation is you're obviously professional, you've got a great story, you've got a good service, but what problem are you solving? And your problem might be, I'm more convenient, or I can fill a gap, but what problem are you solving? And then the next thing is to truly understand the size of your market. Now, what I always suggest people do, and what I would advise you to do, is to make a list. I call them avatars. Just make a list of your potential customers. You've described, B2C. You get recommended to a person here and a person there, and then you've got living facilities. Then you've got other maybe companies that do what you do that you maybe overflow. But you've got to list who they are. And once you identify who those are, you do something called, a TAM, SAM, SOM exercise. Are you familiar with that? TAM is your total addressable market. SAM is your service addressable market. But what you're really looking for is your service obtainable market, which is what share of the business you can get. That is the share of the business that you can get to in light of all the competition that's around there. Once you know who your customers are, once you know the size of your market, and you can rank them accordingly, then you can start to look at what your marketing strategy is, because otherwise you get a lot of advice and you're asking for what can I say to them. Well, you've got to know what to say based on what you're selling and what needs you're filling. And I didn't get that from what you're saying. And what you'll do if you're not careful, you'll just be a busy fool and you'll exhaust yourself. And I've done that in sales many times in the past. I used to sell insurance many years ago, and not understanding the true size of my market just meant I was running around, and I call it pinball marketing, where you bing, 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 and you're just talking to people, when what you really need to do is to have a deep understanding of the market and the gaps that you're trying to fill.
That's very good, actually. Good to know. Thank you.
I told you, Heath, you have some great marketing advice. I got a lot of coming, I promise.
Hi, I'm Heather with Camp Boggy Creek. So with what I do, building relationships, and that's what it sounds like you're trying to do, is build relationships, and that can take time, so give yourself some grace in that.
Yes.
But to what Heath was saying, once you have what I would call prospects, those businesses that you've gone into, identifying and keeping track of your quarterly touches, it's building a relationship, because they have to trust you before they decide to go ahead and utilize your business. So stopping in with coffee, or giving them a call before the holidays. Sometimes those little things can be worth their weight in gold, because if they hear from you enough,
Yeah.
And that's why I say kind of like quarterly, that way it's not so often that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't hear from her anymore. But definitely give yourself some grace in that and maybe try to be creative with that, because building those relationships is kind of like dating. That's what my boss always tells me. You have to be able to, you know, find those moments to do those kind of things, like just stopping by with coffee or popping in and, you know, letting them know you're in the area kind of thing. So it's sometimes those little things too.
I was really wondering where you're going with that. How many times?
Hi, I'm Steve Osterhout, was spot on. I call on a lot of medical practices because I'm in the credit card processing business. You want to become friends with the gatekeepers right away, okay? They're not your adversaries, okay? They'll get you to where you gotta go. Also call on small practices, nurse practitioners, small medical practices, not corporate entities. Right now, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But don't focus there because you'll starve to death before you get anywhere. That would be my opinion.
Good to know, yes, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I own the Holistic Interior Design and also I run the podcast. But I definitely want to say your story was very touching. I enjoyed it very much. I would say get with medical spas, get with SEs. They're always looking to draw blood for facials as well. It's very important to join women's groups that already have spas, medical spas. That's going to get you in the door even faster, and that's going to build trust with nurse practitioners as well. And then from there, they're going to give you that connection with doctors.
Thank you.
Not avoiding they're not. Get my steps in.
Good morning. My name's Rob Hartman with Let Me Get That Junk, and I got a question for you in regard to your successes. Have you had any successes yet?
Yes, yes, I have. I just recently acquired a contract with the independent living facility in DeLand, and then there is one in Flagler that I'll be working with, and Deltona. So when I started with Flagler and Volusia County. So I feel like I've kind of like exhausted how much I did here in Flagler and Volusia, so that I started exploring other areas as well.
Okay. How long have you been working with them?
For about 6 months now.
Okay, what I would suggest, one, is kind of take a look at your successes, capitalize on that, try to get it into a message that you can fall back on it. Another thing I'd ask, have you gotten yourself or gone through any vendor people networks? Okay. I used to work for a company that we did a lot of work with nursing homes and facilities, and one of the things that I found was a lot of these facilities, they're owned by big conglomerates, okay? They have vendor approval networks that they go through. So there's probably about 4 or 5. What I'd suggest is when you call into these homes, don't try to go through the cell. Try to find out who they get their vendor approval for, whether it's net vendor or whoever. Find out who they're getting their approval through.
Okay.
So what that is network. When you find out the main ones, because you don't want to go out, because it's going to cost you each organization to get that approval with. So what you want to do is find out who the main ones, just spend some time on the phones, find out who their vendor approval company is. Then when you get the number, find the biggest ones and work your way down. Also find out who the management companies are. So then what you'll do is you'll reach out, like if it is a net vendor, you'll reach out to net vendor and say, like right now I'm trying to get into this one property management company. They're using a net vendor. I want to go in and get approval through net vendor. You're going to have to pay a fee, they're going to do background checks, verify you and everything. And once you get approved, that opens the door. It's not going to necessarily mean you're going to get in, but that is a foot in the door. And then you start working. That's where all these other relationships that you're building will come into play. But until you get verified and approved by a vendor organization, they're not going to touch you. So especially the big ones that are owned by big corporations, They just have their processes, and it sounds to me like that's probably what you're missing, and no one's relayed that to you.
Oh, good
So,
to know. Thank you.
well-
That was good to know.
So as I'm walking around, you mentioned that you do take insurances, correct?
Yes.
Do you take Medicaid and Medicare?
Medicaid and Medicare, that is correct. And for Medicare and Medicare, there is no cost for me to go to their home to get the blood work done. Any other insurances, yes.
So when you're talking about your target clientele, is it the senior? Is it the professional who's too busy? Who is your target?
Seniors.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Jennifer. I did have a suggestion in terms of like maybe a market that you're not tapping into, like an avenue you can go to reach seniors. But I have an elderly parent that's not very mobile and she doesn't drive. So things like a pharmacy or working with independent pharmacies, taking it out of the doctor's office and going to the place where they have to fulfill their prescriptions. Sometimes they don't want to go to other, go to get my prescription, go to get my blood work, go to get my MRI and all these different things. So there's a lot of independent pharmacies and buildings like that you can partner with, vendor with, and then also like we have the Council of Aging, we have senior health benefit fairs, getting involved directly with those and reaching the seniors in that realm where you're talking to them, you're talking to their parents, their caretakers. They need those, they need to hear about that and know that that's available to them because my mom doesn't live in a nursing facility and things like that. So if I'm not working with them, I'm not going to hear about your services, but I'm somebody that would directly use them.
Got it.
Work my way around. Diego, I promise you can have another comment. So here you go, sir.
I wanted to second what was one of the comments that we just had. I think the Council on Aging is an excellent resource. Also, I would say the lawyers in this area, in Volusia County Bar, that practice elder law, that's all they do. I mean, there's a number of them, a few of them, and those are their clients. And if they give a recommendation, I think it's going to work. The other thing I was going to piggyback on what somebody said is that, is it cost or convenience? I think since you're starting out, you ought to know your competition. In other words, whoever's charging for that, not exactly what you do, how much they charge and charge less, and offer more convenience. If you offer both of those, and you start getting your name known and trusted by several, by these groups, you do well. The last thing I would say is, I know you take insurance, but for example, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the big blue in Florida, if you get to be one of their providers, obviously you're going to have a lot of business. You'll be on their list as part of the network. So if you can get on Blue Cross Blue Shield, power to you.
So would you say that your services are part of a continuity of care for the patient?
Yes, it is.
So if I'm an MD that takes a lot of Medicaid patients, historically Medicaid patients have issues with transportation, is the sell then to the medical provider this improved continuity of care for your patients? Would that be a good angle for you?
Yes. We have a lot of patients that are released from the hospital or for medical reasons and they're unable to leave the house to go get their blood work done. The family is busy. That's where we come in and provide those services.
Lauren McMullen, your Daytona Regional Chamber, just wanted to mention, just kind of like getting into the weeds, but you had stated that elder care might be your niche. I worked for Aging True in the Jacksonville metro area that's like Council on Aging, and we found that our client was really their children, many who were out of town, but people who are stressed, sandwich generation or whatnot, all the things that just start to stack up. And blood work's important, but there are other things going on too, but that can be what breaks the camel's back when you're trying to take care of your family.
I agree with you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to say that I loved your story.
Thank you.
Storytelling is just so powerful. It's a great way to connect with people. I'm a new business founder. My name is Linda Rao. I just founded Manifest with AI Business Solutions. And I just wanted to offer a couple insights. One of them is when it comes to being an entrepreneur, sometimes we have these really great ideas that we think are great, but we haven't validated it to see if there's a true need for it. Have you had a chance to do that just yet?
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
To say it a different way, sometimes we have an idea of a business opportunity that we believe is wonderful, but we have to validate it to make sure that there's a need for it in the market.
Have I done that?
Mhm. You might want to take a step back and go back and do that, because sometimes what you offer might be a great need, but it might not be where you think it's located. Something to consider. The other thing is, in this new era that we're living in, time is a commodity. So when you're going into and cold calling these companies, you want to do what I like to coin is the make it easy statement. So a good way to connect with the people who are the gatekeepers is to make sure you have a pitch that's solid, succinct, and on point. So you can do that by saying, hello, my name is such and such, and I help businesses, or I help and fill in the blanks. That is a great way for you to say what you do without, trying to illustrate all the features and benefits, and also speak to their pain points. Because once you tell them how you can help, they're going to start recalibrating and thinking in their mind, oh, I have a problem that she can help with. So consider those two things.
Yes, that's good. Good to know. Thank you. I will be listening to this afterwards and making a lot of notes.
Sonia, welcome to 1 Million Cups. Such a great story, and you're in the right path. And I'm also learning, just like you. I'm also going to be listening to this after. A couple of things that I thought of while you were sharing your story is, would you maybe consider reaching out to your local SCORE mentor and have that formal training before you go deep dive in Googling what the Tam song is with Heath. And there is an available cohort in Daytona Beach by the Volusia Business Resources. They do this absolutely free resource for businesses that you can attend yourself. Danielle is actually part of that cohort. And you're able to immerse yourself in all these ideas and put it in practice. I love what she said about validating your business and expanding your business, what Davis was referring to. And before you even go that far and take that next step, consider really just saying, all right, is there a need? What is my competition? Who's my market right now? And tap into those mentorship and take a little bit of that time to understand a little bit about your business and take what you need from the group and move forward. So I really appreciate your story. So thank you so much.
All right, we got a couple more questions, and we're coming up on the wall, but I've got everybody on the line, I promise.
Hi, Sonia. My name is Mel. I'm the founder of Design for Independence. I'm in the medical field. I'm an occupational therapist, and I relate to you because I have the same struggles that you have. But thinking about the comment that Jennifer made, I think that if you connect to the group of women that are the daughters of elderly, because we are the ones that take care of our parents, they don't want, our parents are fixed to their routines, their habits, they like, if I can say names, pues, la pork, and they are, hooked to those companies. If something will come to them, it's hard for them to shift the mind. But we as caregivers, we are more open to see what is convenient, what is better for our parents. Then you connect with them and you offer your service, not a service, your service. And in the medical field, we provide is a relationship. You know, we don't sell products. You are doing a personal, individual, personal, caring, love, feeling comfortable that they are doing your own blood. You know, the thing that you say that we consider if they need to fast and they need to wait until 11 a.m. Some of them are sick, and you just bring that compassion. I think that you can connect with them and you can connect to the caregiver, so maybe you can have a better relationship.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Betsy Kruger, and I live in a condo. We're full of elderly people that don't want to really drive out to those places where you give blood and wait like 3 hours. If you were to go to the various condos and get permission to be there, let's say for an hour on a certain day, and say that you're covered by Medicaid and Medicare, and that you're convenient, I'm sure people will show up and you can draw their blood.
Definitely get it done.
Sounds like a great party day. All right, final 2 questions, and we are at our wall.
So first, I'd like to just applaud your persistence and your determination. But I'd also like to say that you're getting excellent advice. And I think the part about going back and validating is really key. What you need is a tool to help you do that. Now, what I would recommend is something called the Business Model Canvas. So it's a very simple, 11 by 17 sheet that methodically makes you go through the 7 dimensions that are really going to define your business model. Okay, it's going to be hard because it's going to really challenge some of the assumptions that you're making about your business, which just hearing, I don't know if you've really sat down and looked at the economics and why somebody would even want to look at this model and how do you focus on that. Going back to the ping marketing, you'll get out of that if you can identify the most, the greatest potential. At the same time, you've got other resources like SCORE and stuff like that to feed into that. But ultimately, you've got to know this business inside out. And whether it's the business model canvas or something similar that makes you address all these different dimensions of your business, you're going to fail. You've got to understand it. So I'm serious, this is really serious. 10 solid hours with a business model canvas will pay off immensely. Spend 2 hours just learning what it is. And if you don't like the business model canvas, there's other models out there. But answer those questions. Develop the models. Use ChatGPT to help you do the research and to develop the models. But go through it methodically. That's my advice to you. And it pulls together all the things that people are saying.
Definitely.
So from what I got from both of you guys was, instead of taking a handful of rocks and throwing them into the ocean, let's take a big boulder and drop it into a pond. It's kind of what it sounds
It is,
like.
yes.
And just wanted to add one last thing regarding your niche. It's okay to start small.
Yes.
There's a business model out there for seniors. I think it's like a nursing home and homes. So you have business owners who have offer care for seniors. I think they're called AFL homes or ADLs. That might be a great market because there's a lot of seniors here in Florida. That might be a great small market where you're doing business to business, where you can just show up to these homes or have a relationship with the business owners who are taking care of seniors who may need your services. So don't be afraid to start small.
Thank you.
Well, apparently I lied to everybody. I promised one last question, so this is really it. And Val's yelling at me, so we can quit.
It's a good one. I am Captain Danielle with World Famous Boat Tours, plus many other hats. So just to kind of back up, that's wasn't even my original. I have a contact for you. But to back up what Keith said, the business model canvas, and what Val said, I'm in that program right now, and it is based on the business model canvas. And Granted, you can use any of them, but it's a 9-week program, it's free, and it's great. And it goes back to what Keith was saying about really trying to figure out who is your market, who are your prospects, and it's worth it to do that. And if you do that, and then go back and find out, I mean, it's all about pivoting and finding out where you really need to be successful, so I highly recommend that. And I will give this to you afterwards for this contact.
Thank
It's
you.
also a great resource.
I do need to talk
See,
to
I
you.
kept it short.
All right, everybody, let's give it up one more time for Sonia Wellbeing. So Sonia, since this is your first time here, and you're probably not used to this, but every single one of these we end with the same question. And what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Give me referral partners. I am here to do the work that I've been already doing for the past 5 years. Well, I started this when I was 23 and my son is now 17. So I've been doing it for 17 years, doing it independently for the past 5 years. So all of the insight you just gave me all today, I didn't know any of it. I'm so open to learning. Making changes and taking one step at a time and see where it takes me, and maybe I'll be here again telling my success story.
So did we just get somebody booked for 365 days out for the success story? I think so. All right, guys, Sonia, thank you so much. Thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you, everyone.
Since most of you guys have been here before, you know what time it is. And if you don't come up to the stage, Valerie will